You may have heard a circulating buzzword recently. In fact, it was the 2022 Word of the Year by Merriam-Webster. Today, we're going to explore what gaslighting is. Merriam-Webster defines gaslighting as the act or practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for personal advantage. But where did this word come from? The word gaslighting originally came from the 1938 play by Patrick Hamilton, Gaslight. Essentially, the plot is that a man is trying to have his wife institutionalized and convince her of her own sanity by altering the gas lights in their home. He's trying to gain jewels from his wife's inheritance, and so he will move things. He also changes the lights to be dimmer, and when she brings this up, he convinces her that she is imagining this, that it isn't happening, and he manipulates her reality and says these things aren't real. His goal was to have her institutionalized so that he could have the freedom to search for her inheritance and claim it for himself. The play was later adapted into two films, the British film and the 1944 movie Gaslight. The movie Gaslight follows essentially the same plot, except the major difference was that it followed psychological abuse, which was not a commonly talked about topic in the United States, whereas physical abuse was a little bit more accepted and even glamorized in media at this point. The goals of gaslighting are relatively understood. It's mostly to receive validation for their actions or who they are as a person. They will avoid accepting blame for anything or admitting any wrongdoing. They can do this because they want to gain emotional validation or some kind of physical or financial benefits from their victim. But the effects of gaslighting are detrimental to the victims. The three primary effects of gaslighting are that victims feel uncertainty within themselves. They'll feel more guarded in other relationships in their lives, and they begin to develop a lack of trust for others in their lives, which makes them more dependent on their perpetrator, or in this instance, the gaslighter. This is what leads to that increased validation. That's a brief overview of what gaslighting is and the effects of it, but there's many more instances of gaslighting in the real world. We see a lot of this in media and also in political realms, so stay tuned for our next part and exploring gaslighting.